This is the fan reaction show. I will be talking about the Tottenham versus Newcastle game. It finished Tottenham 1, Newcastle 2 with fans from all over the world. It's a real pleasure to talk to you. It's a very difficult time to be a Spurs fan at the moment, isn't it? Let's see who I've got in my green room. Okay, so I'm going to start with Melvin, who is in Malta. Melvin, can you hear me, mate?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Melvin. Thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it. Tell me after yet another defeat for Tottenham Hotspur.
I'm really angry, but not probably at what you think. I was really angry at some of the decisions with the refereeing in the first half. Sometimes you need a bit of luck, and we didn't have any luck today. Nothing. I felt everything went against us. There were moments. I think that handball changed the game. It could have been given. I think there was an elbow on Bergvall's head. I was very happy with the fight that we gave today. I mean, we matched them for energy, and we fought them till the last minute. We were in the game. We could have got a draw. I think a draw would have been a fair result, and I would have been happy with the draw. I fully expected us to lose. I just thought we're on our last leg. I don't know what to say anymore. I mean, I don't think we can get any worse by saying that. I don't know. It's just it's difficult to play Ange ball. You could see we're really missing Romero and Van de Ven, because they immediately push us 10 yards up the pitch, and I just think every time we win the ball, we're not winning it high enough up the pitch, and then all of a sudden there's too much in front of us, and I just feel immediately with them we improve straight away. The game today, I was happy with a lot of things, and I was disappointed with a lot of things. Like you said, we're very easy to score against. Everybody knows our weakness and how to exploit it, and they keep doing it. I thought Bergvall was very good at times, but very loose with his passing. Him and Sarr are still learning to play together. I was very happy with RG Gray as per usual. I'm happy with Spence. I thought we could have used Bentancur today. I thought he would have made a difference. It's a shame that he was suspended. I expected more from Johnson. I thought he would do more. Timo Werner, he'll give you some pace, but that's about it. Son looked fresh when he came on. Madison looked, I don't know, I think he looks injured to me. I think he's playing with a knock. Is not himself. Dragazin, I'm disappointed in. Maybe he was sick, maybe he was injured still a little bit, but I expect a bit more from Dragazin, from the guy you saw at the Euros. I think you would expect a bit more. Austin, I'm happy I'm going to mention first. I thought he was good. I would play him instead of Foster. I mean, Foster is at the end of his career. Austin's only at the beginning. Play him. I mean, he did nothing wrong today. At the corners, he looked immense. He put his body on the line. As you would when you were young. So I was impressed with him. So play him. Don't give Foster any more game time. He doesn't need it.
It looks like Spurs have signed a new goalkeeper today, so I wonder if they'll go for him as soon as they possibly can.
I've not seen anything about this, Barnaby. My dad told me right before I sat down to watch the game. He said we signed the keeper, and I said I've seen nothing. I've been off my phone today. Try to stay off it a little bit. But what I have to say about Postecoglou, I mean, he does change some things. I thought the substitutions when he took off Bergvall, that might have been a mistake. We lost a bit of speed and sharpness in the middle, but Ange ball worked a bit today in the end. It was an exciting last 20 minutes, but we failed ultimately because we didn't get any points. But Postecoglou, for me, he needs to navigate these few fixtures and get past them without being sacked. As the fan base, for me, I'm still behind this manager. We still have too many injuries. We're still very, very early in our project. And I guess,
sorry to interrupt, mate. I guess one question worth asking, Melvin, especially because we came up against an Eddie Howe side today. Eddie Howe, clearly, Newcastle played good football when they were on the ball. I thought they looked really good. They've invested in some really excellent players. Isak and Gordon and Guimaraes and Joe Linton are excellent players, all of whom could play for Spurs. They never will, but they would be great Spurs players. But Eddie Howe says to them clearly, when you have the ball, you can play. But when you don't have the ball, you all get behind it. You all get behind the ball. And that is different with Ange. And for me, I said it during the watch along, Brennan Johnson for me is a player who clearly, when Tottenham have their best players playing, he is a danger. In what he can do really brilliantly, there are few better at, which is that kind of getting in that inside right, a kind of half space, hitting it into the bottom left-hand corner if he gets that chance, or getting that cross to the across the front of the box to the far post. But when he's not in those positions, he offers very little. And there were so many occasions, especially in the first half today, where he wasn't working hard enough to get back. And that, to me, it has to be that Ange is telling him, take the risk. And that is, again, another... I'm not blaming him for the reason we lost the game. I'm blaming the referee for the reason we lost the game. But for me, when you see Eddie Howe and the way that he sets it up today, there's a way of playing good football, but also when not being easy to score against when you lose the ball and it's 2 passes and it's a goal.
Yeah, I feel we have nothing down the wings, Barnaby. I feel Timo Werner's offers nothing but pace, and Johnson just offers, something in a moment. In a moment, he can offer you a goal or an assist or a good pass or a good cross, but he doesn't offer nothing really. He doesn't trouble the defenders. He doesn't do anything. And I felt we've played. It's like we're a boxer who's playing wounded, who's fighting wounded. He has, we have one arm tied behind our back at the moment because we have nothing down the wings. Yeah. We have a very weak bench. We have a very weak defense because we keep playing people who are just fit. We have our best defenders and goalkeeper are injured and haven't played for a long, long time. And we're not able to play our brand of football. I thought also Kulusevski today was poor. Kulusevski didn't do much for me today. He tried and he pressed. And Solanke also had a very good finish. He's a very hard-working player, and to me, he was very good. He needs a bit more. He needs a bit more service. And I feel if we're back to full fitness and a full team, we'll get more out of Solanke because we'll win the ball much higher up the pitch. We'll get more of our attackers that way. And I just felt today that the team showed some fight. The team showed that it had 4 or 5 days rest, and I thought not starting Son was not a mistake, but I think it was a calculated substitution. I think he's going to save him more for Liverpool, which is an important tie for us this season, because I think a lot of fans keep saying we're in the cup, but we're only in the cup for 2 more games, and Jose was the same thing. Jose's career at Spurs lasted so long because we keep saying, he has a cup final, but that can only save you for so long. So with Postecoglou, we keep saying, we're in the League Cup semi-final. We can't keep saying that for long because 2 more games, and it's very, very realistic that we'll be out of that competition. But all I want to see from Spurs at the moment is a fight, and they showed it today. And with us being so deprived with injuries, sickness, and everything, they showed a very, very good fight against a team who's not conceded in 4 games, who's playing really good football under a very good manager, who are 4 years under their project. So we have to keep some things in mind.
But what do you say, Melvin, to all of the kind of people on social media who's saying Ange is a fraud, Ange is a joke, Ange is the easy, Ange is... I've likened it a little bit to... I remember watching Marcelo Bielsa at Leeds. I loved watching. I was like, oh my God, I'd take Bielsa as Spurs manager. It'd be so fun. Well, we have like a Marcelo Bielsa now where we are just conceding far too easily. How long... I'm with you in that I think we have to stick with Ange. I don't think there's another option unless Levy kind of out of the blue is willing to pay a huge compensation to someone like Iraola. Then I think we have to stick with him. But what do you say to those people who say that he's just out of his depth?
I don't agree that he's out of his depth. I think he showed us in moments when Ange ball works and it's in full flow. It's good football and we can fight. I think we're still very early in our project, and to win, he's won certain games in a certain manner, and the City game, for example, that screams out. The Liverpool game last season, and we beaten Villa 4-0.
Sorry, Melvin, sorry to interrupt. Can I play devil's advocate just for a second? He's in his second year. He's over a year and a half into it. So you could deem that as early in his project. But when you look at Unai Emery and what he did at Aston Villa incredibly quickly, Is there an argument? Is there an argument there to say if you get the right man at the right time, then actually it can change quicker than it's changing at Spurs? I mean, Spurs. What I will say is Spurs have basically changed their entire squad except for Ben Davis and Son Heung-min.
Yeah, we've had to literally gut out our entire squad, and it's a process that takes time. And he compared it to like pruning. He said pruning, like you're cutting the branches of a tree, and for a while when you do that, you have to. The tree looks bad. It doesn't grow. It takes time for the new branches to form. You know what I mean? If you're comparing this to so. For me, these things take time, and look how many players we had to move on, and how many players didn't work. We failed Conte, we failed Jose Mourinho, these players failed us time and time again. We had to start new. We had to start from a fresh squad, and we're starting to see today. We saw Bergvall for the first time, in my opinion. We saw Bergvall for the first time today.
Yeah, he's
Archie Gray. Archie Gray. We've been watching him for a while now, playing at centre back, not even his position. So investing in the youth was a good decision. I know we're not in a position to buy £100 million striker yet, or 100 like Arsenal did with Declan Rice. We're in a position to find our ground, find our best 11, and grow from there. I think it's key. We're in a good position right now to strengthen, because we know where our weaknesses are. We have the financial capability. We have wages to spend, because we cleared up 31 million last summer, and we still have room to clear out. I think we have players we can sell and make money. I don't think we should jump the gun on Postecoglou yet, because we're still early. I think we should back him with our time, not with money. With 100 million, we need to back him with time.
Melvin, just before I let you go, can I just say I've just seen that Ange was asked about Newcastle's first goal, and he said if all things were balanced and equal, we would have won that game. So it's very rare for Ange to come out and have a go at the officiating, but that's the first time I've really seen him do that. And for me, the thing, and I'll let you go after just asking you this, Melvin. For me, the thing, as I said in my post-match, is those free kicks are given all day, every day in central midfield. They are given all day, every day in central midfield. And one was given against Dan Burn in central midfield. So why is the referee not given that one? Explain it to me.
I don't know, but when I saw Postecoglou going absolutely crazy, waving his arms and shouting, I've never seen him do that. Never at Spurs. And at home, I wasn't even at the game, but at home, I was rattled up. I was angry. I was into the game more. So I was happy he did that. I started shouting. We got really unlucky with that, because I felt it was a handball. I mean, it led to a goal.
He passed it. He passed it with his hand to the forward, who just one pass and they score. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah. Anyways.
Anyway, Melvin, sorry, I've riled myself up again, once again. But Melvin, listen, mate, really appreciate you being a part of the show today, and I'll speak to you after the next one.
All the best.
Top man. Cheers, mate. There I was, riling myself up once again. Next up is Wes from Atlanta in America. Wes, can you hear me, mate? And how are you feeling after that game?
Yes, I can hear you, Barnaby. Feeling, one, I do like that we fought, but I think this comes down to unluckiness, and then another situation where the referee, or the rules of the game is unclear, because to me that was clearly a handball. We would at least got a draw out of that game. Maybe we would have scored a goal in the second half, if our the players who came in did the same thing they did, playing on the front foot like we did. But that handball that really pissed off, like, because in other situations, like say that was in the box or something like that, they probably would have gave a penalty in most cases, like that. So it was so blatant. It hit directly at his hand. Next, he touches the ball. He has possession of the ball. After that, he did one pass, and then boom, it's a goal. To me, that's just it's messing too much with how the flow within the game goes, for that to not have to not have been ruled as a handball, because it just affected the gameplay too much. I think when it affects the gameplay directly like that, Like it'd be different if he just kept it, like the team just kept possession, but they ended up not getting nothing out of that. I think then they would have just let it go. But for it to just lead so quickly to a goal, you have to look at that a little bit harder. And I'm sure there's going to be games you're going to look in the future games. I'm sure it could happen probably this weekend or the next weekend. And something similar is going to happen. And I bet they're going to give that as a handball. I bet they'll give that as a handball. The FA has to do better with the rules of the game. If we're going to go off these rules, we're so set on these rules. Oh my God, these rules. And you just let a blatant handball. Like his arm was too spread out. They said it was close to his body. No, close to his body is when his hand is like too like connected to his body.
Wes, sorry to interrupt, mate, but the thing for me was he then gave a handball for exactly the same against Dan Burn, and then didn't book him for the handball for stopping the break in play for Spurs when he'd already been booked and it should have been a sending off. That's where to me it's totally embarrassing.
It's and then thing is that he should have probably been out the game probably beginning of the game when he was like out here hitting everybody in the face and everything in the beginning of the game. I think it was number 7, right? It was the same player, right? Who was the one getting in early trouble with us.
Joe Linton. Joe Linton did foul a lot.
Yeah, I'm like he should have already had a yellow already from the get go.
But it wasn't him. It wasn't him with the handball that stopped the Spurs transition. That was I think Dan Burn.
Okay.
But listen, Wes, you've just dropped off. Are you still there, mate?
Okay, nah, I said I'm back.
Wes, your camera's just dropped off. Yeah, we can hear you, but I can't see you. Wes, tell me where you're at. There you are. You're back. Tell me where you're at with Ange Postecoglou after that defeat.
I'm still with him. Like, he had to put a right back who was already out of position playing left back, and then he had to put him at center back. Like, I don't, no, he's in the corner. Like, there's no. If we bring in whatever manager, I don't care if he's seen as the greatest manager right now in football, he's not going to do nothing with this team, whoever it is. Like they can't get nobody to come in right now and to pull results out with the team. I don't care if they go back to if the next manager comes back with like a defensive style of play and we play more counter attack. We're still going to lose. We're still going to have the same problems. We're still not going to have the quality we need to beat the teams we need to beat. You might as well go with Ange and get the team back, get the team back healthy, and see where we can go from there. And plus, we're just in the beginning of this rebuild. They said in the press conference, like the higher up, saying, "Oh, we're in a rebuild. We have to then commit to the rebuild. Commit to the rebuild." Because I'm not going for this whole merry-go-round and all the people saying Ange out. Like, bro, you can't. That's what a rebuild is. Like, we're going to go through these kind of lows. Right now, we're going through because of the injury crisis. I don't think we'll be as bad right now. He finished 5th last year, under the circumstances. So you can only know like this is because of injuries. I think we would be in a similar position, probably like 7th, 8th right now if we didn't have these injuries. We wouldn't be in such a poor position if it wasn't for these injuries. You can't blame it on the manager. And some of this just comes off of refereeing. Some of this come off of just individual mistakes, like the goalkeeper with Foster making a crazy 2-goal, losing 2 goals. Like, come on, he can't do anything about that. So, and then the sickness, the bug that happened early this week at the Hotspur Way, like you can't make this up.
I agree.
This man has everything on the back of him, man. And we're out here and you got fans saying, "Oh, Ange out." Dude plays good football, but he has a actual direction of what he wants this team to play. And we see it even with the academy players that are out there, just 18, 19-year-olds who are out there playing. You see that it's working. They're getting in their head. They're starting to understand how he wants to play this style of football. Yeah. You gotta just let him. No, I'm not into that.
Okay, Wes, that was brilliantly put. I completely agree. And listen, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Let's talk again after one of the future games, Wes. Try and enjoy the rest of your weekend, mate.
Yep. All right, I'll see you. Come on, Spurs.
Thanks, mate. Okay, next up, we are going to speak to Colin, who is in Canada. Colin, how are you, mate? And how are you feeling after that 2-1 defeat to Newcastle?
I'm well, Barnaby. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound all right. It felt like inevitability to me, but also Spurs did put in a shift second half. But just for me, the refereeing for that goal, I don't care if Joe Hart tells me as a co-commentator or as the pundit that it's letter of the law. Those handballs are given all day, every day on every football pitch in the Premier League in the centre circle. And the fact that he didn't give it for me was just changing the game, and it's bad refereeing.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. Obviously, It had a huge impact in the game. I think there are some positive takeaways from the game, but that was obviously a pivotal point, and we paid for that. We've had our own share of good luck in the last year and a half when you think of the Liverpool call at Spurs last year and things, so it does kind of even out. It's frustrating because obviously we needed to get something out of that game and we didn't.
Yeah, very frustrating. So you talked about some positives there, Colin. What are they?
I thought Austin was great. I was really, I'm not going to fault Fraser Forster for anything he's done. I think he stepped in and done a really admirable job. But it's really nice to see Austin get a chance, and I thought he played very well. I was a little worried of the first goal. I thought maybe could have got a touch in the first goal, but I think he was overall
it was
a real bright spot. I thought we played Newcastle better than we have in the last 4 games. If you look at they beat us 4-1, 4-0, and 2-1. So we're 0-4 in the last 4 against them. And I really thought Eddie Howe delivered a masterclass in those 2 games at Newcastle. So I thought we played them better. I thought the substitutions we made in the second half were better. But, I kept thinking about being on with you, Barnaby, after the game, and I thought about expectations and where are we in terms of expectations for this club? And I think if we can define where we are in expectations, it answers a lot of questions, particularly about the manager. So I don't know where are we happy? Where do we want to be with this club right now?
Do you know what? Listen, I agree with you. I want to be in a position where we are enjoyable to watch, but also where it's not inevitable when I go to and watch a game that I know that we're going to lose. And I do understand that a lot of that is down to the injuries and the illness. But my fear for Ange is, again, I'll state it again, that a lot of the injuries it cannot be coincidence that we get so many of the same muscle injuries. Mm-hmm. It has to be somewhat down to the relentlessness of the training and the relentlessness on the pitch. You saw it today from Newcastle. Every time Newcastle won a free kick, they took their time over it. 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute, a chance to get the team back, recovered, some air into their lungs, and for their muscles to recover. And Ange wants us just playing the free kick first time, every time. And I get the idea. The idea is that you out-stamina the opposition, that they fatigue. But we do not have the squad to play that at the moment. And as a result, we're continually losing more and more players. That is my problem for him. And that is where I think it kind of disconnects with my expectation, because if I don't have any doubts whatsoever that if we had the first team on the pitch, we would not be currently in 12th or 13th or wherever we're going to end up after this week. We would be in 6th or 7th, maybe even 5th. Mm-hmm. But he needs to get the first team on the pitch. And if he continues to play in a way that's going to get them injured all the time, just like players got injured all the time at Celtic, and I've seen the reports, then it's not going to work for him.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent point about game pacing. I mean, I'm a big Eddie Howe fan. It's like looking for another girlfriend, right? It's like, Eddie Howe looks really great. There's a lot of managers. Unai Emery looks great. But there's a certain, people ask on social media if he's out of his depth, and I think the jury's still out on that. I think you look at the way somebody like Eddie Howe manages a game in terms of pacing, as you pointed out, and so on. They seem really well drilled and really cognizant of the fact that those sorts of breaks within the game are important and so on. And I'm not an Ange disliker. I'm just not sure yet. I'm not sure because we haven't seen the consistent results to make us understand whether or not he is. The best managers in the world coach the English Premier League, and is he one of them is the question.
Yeah, really good point, Colin. Colin, I've only got about 15 minutes left. I've got people to get through, but thank you so much once again for calling in. Thanks for being part of the show, and I'll speak to you after the next game, I hope.
Okay, Barnaby, thanks so much.
Man, thanks, Colin. Bye-bye. Okay, thank you, Colin. Some really good points from him there. Next up, here is Steve from the Czech Republic. Steve.
Hi, Barnaby.
One of our regulars. How are you feeling after that, mate?
Robbed, actually. I thought we put up a fantastic performance considering how depleted we were. And like you say, I don't usually like to criticise referees, but apart from the handball incident, which was absolutely ridiculous that it wasn't given, sometimes with these situations you think, is that going to be given or is it not? In my own mind, I was thinking he's going to give that and the goal's going to be ruled out. It wasn't any doubt in my mind.
Me too.
One of my brothers, who's actually unfortunately staunch Arsenal, texted me and said, how does that not given, as well, So anyway, apart from that, I thought Joe Linton's challenge on, what was his name? I forgot now. His challenge on Porro, very early in the game. He dead-legged Porro from the back, very late. Wasn't penalised. I thought yellow card. And then about 10 minutes later, he's hit his forearm into the neck of Bergvall, and he's gone down Bergvall. I don't know if you remember that incident. And that wasn't given either. And I'm thinking, they're getting away with bloody murder. And generally, I thought, he wasn't really playing the advantage. Sometimes when we had a break and there was a foul and he could have played on for us. There was quite a few times we didn't get the rub of the green, and we're very unlucky in the closing 20 minutes. That, we just couldn't get a touch on some of the crosses coming in. Yeah. So I thought we deserved a draw. I thought the guys did fantastically.
Steve, next up, we have Liverpool at home in the Carabao Cup semi-final, first leg on Wednesday, and then Arsenal away. It's not going to get any better, is it? I mean, no, hopefully we'll have a few more men back for that Liverpool game, but you can't see anything other than us getting, frankly, destroyed in the Liverpool game because we'll be too open in central midfield, and then probably out set pieced in the Arsenal game at the very least. They'll play pretty tight and narrow, I would have thought. Yeah. And do you think Ange? I mean, I'm sorry to ask it again, mate, but is there a world that Ange can survive this?
This is the problem. Not my faith in him. A lot of people's faith in him. It's the fact will Levy continue to have faith in him and let him run with it, if you like. If we do lose these following two games, which are pretty expected, with the depleted side and the teams we're actually playing. So I worry for him, because I think, I back him all the way. I'd like to see him, stay to at least the end of the season and see how we are, because I think I like the way we play, obviously, but extremely disappointed. Now the Liverpool game. I mean, I thought today we were getting absolutely battered. I was thinking, literally, I think 4-5-1. I was expecting it, not wanting it, but, their form and our form. And it didn't happen. We almost got a draw out of it. I think...
Steve, can I interrupt quickly, though, and just play devil's advocate there? Do you not think that's kind of Newcastle being like, I don't think we need to overexert ourselves here. We've had a lot of games. We're 2-1 up. They're not really laying a glove on us. Like, we had a couple of headers and a chance of Brennan Johnson at the back post. But do you know, I guess what I'm saying is, I feel like if we had equalised, and it was a big if, don't you think they would have just found another gear and scored again?
I mean, you are playing devil's advocate. I don't know so much. I really don't know. I was very disappointed, and I must say, I don't care what anyone says, very disappointed in Brennan Johnson. He's giving us nothing. I mean, he can't cross the ball. He's not crossing the ball at all. That second chance he had, I'm not talking about the one from the tight angle where he hit the post.
The one he whacked.
The other one, he whacked it across the box. He's not. There was a brilliant ball in the first half from Bergwall over the defender's head to feet, and he mispossessed it. And it breaks down again.
He didn't trust that the ball was going to get there, but you've got to assume the ball's going to get there. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, to me, I know he's all these goals he's scored. I mean, not being funny, but I could have tapped in most of the goals he's got at the back post at my age.
You've got to get there, though, Steve. He does make good runs into the back post. That is one of his qualities.
That's good. But like the chap from Malta pointed out, he doesn't do a lot else. He's not bringing a lot else. And if you look at, I was watching obviously the whole game, but I was watching the way Gordon chases back and harries our fullbacks and midfield players when they have the ball and make it difficult for us on the ball. And he doesn't do any of that. He doesn't chase back. And obviously neither does Werner.
But sorry to interrupt again, but do you think that's Johnson just being like, I can't be bothered? Or do you not think that it's kind of Ange saying, take the risk on it. I'm backing us to clear it, which we very rarely do. And then the ball will fall to you because it doesn't change. Johnson doesn't get back the same way the Newcastle players get back, and nor does Son. It's frankly why we're so easy to be scored against, because as soon as we lose the ball in the midfield, 4 of them at least are caught ahead of the ball. And it's 2 passes and they're in.
Yeah, that's true. I do think Sonny does get back sometimes, but not enough. I quite agree with you there. There was another point I'd just like to make. I made it to a friend of mine at half time. Did you notice that the corners, who was marking Isak for them?
Was it Johnson?
It was Brendan Johnson. I couldn't believe it. The smallest player, apart from Porro, one of the smallest, slightest players on the field marking them. And I mean, didn't score from that, from a header, but I just thought, why? But anyway, it was just an observation, really. Yeah. No, I'm not looking forward to the next 2 games.
It's frightening time. It's a frightening time. Steve, once again, thanks for giving us a call, mate. Thank you for being part of the show today. Hopefully speak to you after the next game.
I'm up for it. I'll be up for the Liverpool game.
Top man. Have a good one. See you later.
You too. All
right. That was Steve there. And next up, I'm going to go to Gary. Gary, can you hear me?
I can, Barnaby. How are you, mate? Okay.
Yes, I'm depressed, mate. I'm depressed. But Gary, I've got about 8 minutes left. I've got one other person to speak to, so probably 3 or 4 minutes. But tell me how you're. What did you think of that overall? Any positives to be found?
There's a few positives to be fair. I thought Brandon Austin was excellent today. First full game for Tottenham. I think he looked really assured. I much prefer him to Forster, obviously. I thought Bergvall was really good. I thought we commanded the midfield, certainly in the early part of the second half, first sort of 10, 15 minutes second half. And I actually thought Reguilon did really well when he came on. He never let himself down, considering he's sort of been out in the wilderness for a period. Thought he actually did really well. But there's a lot of negatives as well, Barnaby, isn't there, unfortunately? And that for me is the issue.
What are the most pressing negatives as we go into a run of games against the 2 best clubs in the country?
Yeah, I mean, I've put some notes down. Excuse me, as I was watching the game, and I thought the first goal with the handball. Obviously, it was a ridiculous decision. The Premier League have obviously scrapped the handball rule and not told anybody. But I just thought we overplayed out from the back. I thought we kind of created our own issue there. I thought the second goal, Spence switched off, and obviously then it was an easy sort of tap in. Johnson looks like he's running in treacle, in particular when he goes back. I heard what you said to the other gentleman, in respect of, maybe he's being told not to run back, but even when he's running back, he's jogging, Barnaby. He's not sprinting.
I agree.
Jogging. Werner's a complete passenger. Shouldn't ever get on that pitch again for us, in my opinion. And it's just we've conceded. They said a stat on the commentator. We've conceded 20 league goals this season. We're wide open. The system doesn't suit some of the players, in my opinion, and you have to adapt to what you've got. I'm not Ange out, but I do feel I was on Chris's fan calling show during the week. I said the same thing. I do feel that he's going to do for himself, unfortunately. And I think we're looking at the next 6 games. We've got Liverpool, obviously, Tamworth, Arsenal, Everton and Leicester. I think if we get smacked by Liverpool, if we get smacked by Arsenal, he'll be lucky to get to the Leicester game. Where do we go? If we get rid of him, where do we go?
Gary, the thing that I keep coming back to is my memory of Bielsa at Leeds. The Leeds fans absolutely loved Bielsa. He had the attitude they liked. He was clearly a good man manager. He said the things that they wanted to hear. But in the end, for the Leeds board, it was just too much. And they had to do it. And I kind of agree with you that I just think, at the moment, I have to say, I think the only thing actually maybe keeping Ange in a job is how Amorim has started at Man United. I think that has really shown that actually it doesn't always work to change someone and get the new manager bounce, even if you pay huge and exorbitant compensation to get the manager who's the most sought after. And at this point, I think that is kind of keeping Ange in the job.
Yeah, I also think, at the end of the day, I know he's got loads of injuries. I mean, today, dropping Spence back into central defence. I mean, it's not ideal, is it? But I think at times where he has had the opportunity to even look at changing the system, trying to adapt to the teams we're playing. We just play the same way, like you said earlier, we're wide open, and it's just a couple of passes, simple ball over the top, and the answers, it's always the same outcome, isn't it? Every time.
It's always down the left-hand side as well. Absolutely. I mean, both sides, but you know that down the left-hand side,
that's where
teams are just going to get in every time.
And I think that's got a lot to do again with Johnson. Just jogging back. He's got. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's scored a few goals this season, albeit they've been tap-ins. But you've got to be in a position to tap it in. Yeah. But when the ball's going the other way, Porro's sprinting, and then he's got two players there. Which he's up against, and Johnson's like 40, 50 yards down the pitch, trotting back. It's shocking. Yeah. Absolutely shocking.
Gary, I completely agree. Gary, I've got to speak to one other caller before the end. But listen, thanks so much for being a part of the show, and let's speak again after the next game.
Appreciate it. Take care, mate. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay, and finally today, Paul O'Rourke over there in Ireland. Paul, what can you add? How do you feel after the Tottenham 1, Newcastle 2?
Bit conflicted. I don't think there's been a game. It's been a game for a long time where emotions have just gone up and down on a regular basis, to the point where there was a part of the second half. I think we had gotten the corner, something simple. Reguilon was riling the crowd.
Yeah, saw that.
I let out a roar, and this might sound silly, but I had a tear rolling down my face. I said, right, these boys are giving it. And to be fair, we gave it in the second half to the best of what we could, which is a positive. I think it looked like we changed completely. We made the 3 subs. So the 3 senior players came on. I think we were far better after that. No, we do touch on your point, playing devil's advocate. Did Newcastle take their foot off the gas a bit and say, look, we don't really need to do that much? I think we're fairly comfortable, but I think we absolutely gave it in the second half. We really did. Timo Werner, if we're paying his wages, just send him back to whoever owns him. He does nothing for us. He does absolutely nothing. And it's so disappointing because yes, would be class, I suppose, as a senior player, but he's doing nothing. He's doing absolutely nothing for us. I would rather, one of the 17-year-olds.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, Paul, let's try and end this on a positive. Talk to me about how you felt Lucas Bergvall played, and do you think he was unlucky to get taken off?
Unlucky to get taken off, but I would like to think that is a substitution looking at Wednesday. Yes, you'd like to see him.
Sarr is suspended, isn't he, on Wednesday? We've got 2 suspensions Wednesday. Who's the other one?
But
I know Sarr is suspended anyway, yeah.
I'm not too sure. But I'd like to think that is down to Wednesday. I know we have injuries. There was an illness. There's also fatigue. I think that's as clear as day. Yeah. You're touching on Johnson, not, tracking back and so on. These boys must be tired. Like they're putting it out there. We're dealing with a massive injury crisis, and these boys are probably putting in more minutes on the pitch than what they may usually. So I think that's part of it as well. But yes, I would have liked to see them stay on. In normal circumstances with a fully fit squad, we would be having a different conversation, a completely different conversation. But unfortunately, we're not. So looking at Wednesday, first leg of semi-final at home, with what I would hope is, a second string Liverpool, will we be good enough to at least get a half decent result, in the hope that our squad is going to be a whole lot better come the second leg? Only Wednesday will tell us that. But I think that's what that substitution was. Get him off the pitch. He's probably going to play 90 minutes on Wednesday.
Yeah. Paul, listen, thanks so much for being a part of the show today. I'm afraid I have to let that go, but let's talk after that Liverpool game. And yeah, like you said, the only thing we can hope is that we can somehow find a way to stay in that game. Have a good one, mate.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching today's watch along. Another disappointing, if not inevitable, loss for Tottenham Hotspur. If you would like to appear on a future episode, calling in after the game and speaking to me, do email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com.